Hey guys, Daniel here and welcome back to the Finance Channel. Here today, we're going to be going through my official thoughts on Voyager Digital's Q4 earnings, what I think about them, what I thought about these earnings going into them, and what I think about them now, as well as updated price targets for year-end 2021. We're going to go through exactly my projections for revenue, valuation, and where I think that translates for stock price, and that's really exciting. So make sure to stick around till the second half where I go through my price targets. So anyways, Voyager Digital earnings. Now, in my video about, I think it was like Friday or something like that, I went through my expectations going into earnings. So in this video, I'm going to quickly, maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes, go through exactly what my expectations were going into earnings and how those played out throughout the earnings call, throughout the report, and what I think about them now. So going into earnings, they were expecting around $3.5 million in revenue. That's pretty much exactly what we got, as that was what Voyager said previously. You know, they said in beforehand that they were going to do around $3.7 million. They did that. Nothing shocking there. They reported a loss as well. Again, nothing too surprising, as this isn't the quarter where all the significant growth, all the significant user growth, revenue growth that we've seen over the past couple months has really had a chance to blossom and, you know, really affect their margins and their profitability and things along those lines. I think that's going to be kind of quarter one, quarter two of 2021, where we really start to see massive increases in revenue and where people kind of, you know, really treat Voyager as a true company and not a speculative play. So again, gross margin, Steve Ehrlich said it's around 70-80%. I think this is pretty similar. We didn't get too much insight into gross margin, but again, that's what Steve Ehrlich said. I'm confident that it is like that. You know, going into earnings, I thought this was going to be a very forward-looking quarter in the sense that we're going to be looking ahead more than we are over the past quarter, and that's exactly what happened. We looked ahead into a variety of different subjects, and we're going to go through these right now. So in terms of a revenue announcement for the month of February, I went into earnings thinking that we were going to get around $15 million in revenue. They reported $20 million earlier this morning. $20 million in revenue. Just incredible. This is a company that did like $4-5 million in revenue in all of 2020. And here they are doing $20 million in the month of February. Absolutely huge. And in terms of the call and the kind of sentiment when it comes to management, all very bullish on the company. They're expecting this to continue increasing. And they use the words, quote, "We have just planted a seed, and now it's time to execute and let that seed blossom into something truly magnificent." So I'm really excited when it comes to Voyager. And this revenue beat that we've seen, $20 million in February, this is going to play big when it comes to my updated price targets, which we'll look at in a moment here. Again, we were expecting updated assets under management figures kind of mid-February. These were around $1.1 billion on February 16th. 2 weeks later, and this number is currently at $1.8 to $1.9 billion in assets under management. Absolutely huge growth. The fact that they, you know, 70-80% their assets under management over the past 2 weeks really speaks to their growth, not just in amount of customer deposits, but in the amount of customers that are actually coming to Voyager. Again, huge. And then from this, we get an assets under management monetization rate. That's something that I wanted to see. And this is essentially the total percentage of their assets under management that go directly to revenue every year. Now, in January, this was around 20%, and management expects this to drop to anywhere from 10 to 12% in the long run. In this earnings report, it was reported that this kind of percentage, this monetization rate, now stands at around 15 to 16%. So we did see a pretty significant decline in that percentage, but we saw a giant uptick in revenue. So despite that kind of slight negative catalyst with the decrease in assets under management monetization rates, we saw an increase, a massive increase in their total assets under management and total funded accounts, which made up drastically for this decline in monetization rates. So in my opinion, this is kind of what I see Voyager doing going forwards. I see this number kind of dwindling down to that 10 to 12% by year-end 2021, but I see them growing so significantly that we're not even going to notice that decrease in that monetization rate. So absolutely, you know, great news when it comes to that and that growth. Was one of my kind of risks, this number rather, falling below 10 to 12%. But given their growth, I really think this risk is almost eliminated at this point. Platform backlog, I mean, Voyager is a company experiencing significant demand, and they currently have a wait list. Now, although they didn't comment too much on this waitlist, they said they're working as hard as they can to eliminate the waitlist, and it should be gone as soon as possible, as soon as they're done scaling the new servers and new kind of back end of Voyager to allow for up to 10 million active users. Keep in mind, they currently have 200,000 active funded accounts. A giant increase in capacity when it comes to Voyager and what they're expecting. Again, they're continuing to allow new users onto the platform, and eventually that waitlist will be gone, and that's going to be very good for Voyager. We'll get a sense of when that is. I'll make a video as soon as it does, as soon as it does get eliminated. So user growth, again, February 4th, 104,000 funded accounts on the Voyager platform. And here today, we just reported almost 200,000 total accounts, funded accounts meaning. Absolutely huge. Over a double up in the span of a month. Really plays to that growth story with Voyager and why I'm so excited about it. Not just in the short term, but in the long term. Really exciting stuff going on here. 2021 guidance. Now, Voyager did not give too much guidance when it comes to revenue in 2021. Now, this is all okay, as in the moment here, I'm going to go through my projections, which are pretty significantly higher than what we have here, and it's really exciting where I think Voyager could be trading at just a year from now, if not many years from now. So I'm really excited to show you guys these numbers in a second here. International expansion. We did get an update on this. They said they've essentially done all they need to apply for the US, essentially the New York license. New York is the only state that Voyager isn't in, and they've essentially done all the paperwork and all the things they need to do to get into New York. So at this point, it's just a waiting game. They got to wait to get applied, and then as soon as possible, they'll get let into New York, which is great news, obviously, in terms of increasing that total addressable market by adding New York. Canada, same thing. They filed with the Ontario Securities Commission. They've given them all the documents they need. Now it's just a waiting game. And in terms of Europe, we didn't get too much of an update with Europe, but again, this is something they're expecting to expand into in 2021. They're expecting to, increase capacity and get into new markets like New York, Canada, and other countries in Europe in 2021, which is something that we want to expect, and it's a very bullish sign when it comes to possibility of an increase in account growth and increase, obviously, in total addressable assets under management, which is one of the biggest metrics when it comes to Voyager and their revenue growth. So, that's something to watch. New product launches. They reiterated that in 2021, or in the near future, they want to get their credit card out. They want to get their debit card out. They want to get margin available for users. They're going to continue listing new assets. They listed the importance of that, and that they want to essentially list as many tokens or cryptocurrencies as possible, as they're mainly driven by the consumer and what the consumer wants. And essentially, that's something that's really good when it comes to a company, that they listen to their audience and their customers. It's very good seeing Voyager really play and support their customers, which is, again, that creates a lot of kind of that bond between the customer and the company, which is something we really want to see with Voyager. Again, international expansion, that's something they're expecting. And they also touched on equities, being able to trade cryptocurrencies into stocks, or cryptocurrencies into other cryptocurrencies. This is something we should expect within the next year, possibly within the next 2 years, but I'm really confident they'll be able to get it within the next year, as they just raised so much money, and they're on a hiring spree right now. I think they've got 100 job openings on their Twitter page. So really trying to grow massively and expand their base into a variety of different industries that they're not in right now. They also kind of touched vaguely on mergers and acquisitions. They couldn't really talk about this, as they said, they legally aren't able to. But again, I'm confident Steve Ehrlich will make the proper acquisitions to allow them to grow significantly going forwards. And that's something really exciting with Voyager. So anyways, now is March 1st, obviously. We got all this news. Exceptional. We can take a look at the stock price here, but, this is a thing that has gone up significantly over the past kind of few months here, and obviously now here today, we saw a giant move in upside when it does come to the stock. Let's take a look here. Up around 20%, I believe. Yeah, 18% on the day. So congratulations to any shareholders as of today. This is absolutely huge news for Voyager. Really exciting for the long term. And again, congratulations if you hold the stock. So if we look at my price targets for the next year here, for year 2021, this is where things really get exciting and where we can really kind of project some really interesting things. So I'm going to look at a conservative number and a very bullish, or not very bullish, but a conservative number and more of a bullish number. And you guys will see kind of the difference between these two. So obviously in January, we reported around this is actually around 8.5 million. Let me change that. We reported $8.5 million in revenue. In February, we just found out this is around $20 million. So what I did here is I compounded the monthly revenue for Voyager by 10% every single month for the year 2021. I think this is highly achievable, given that they went from $3 million in revenue in December to $8.5 million in revenue in January to $20 million in revenue by February. So given new product launches, expansion into more markets in the US, international expansion, I think 10% compounded is very easily achievable for Voyager within the next year here. And honestly, some people might consider that bullish. But when I make my price targets, I'd like to kind of make them very almost bearish so that we have that upside left. I'd like to be surprised with my stocks. If I'm happy with the base case, I'm fine with anything else that happens from there. So if we use that 10% compounded monthly rate, we get revenue of $380 million for Voyager Digital. Huge growth. I mean, absolutely huge if we look at this. This is a company that did a few $1 million in revenue for the year 2020. And it's a company that I think is going to do at least $380 million for the year 2021. So you see that kind of huge growth when it comes to Voyager, and that chance at 100x growth year on year for them to see rather in the later quarters. Again, absolutely huge. So anyways, I take this revenue and I give it a price to sales of around 20. I think 20 is very reasonable and honestly could be considered a smashing deal given that Robinhood, another kind of brokerage cryptocurrency trading platform, is expected to go public at a price to sales of 45. Coinbase, no different, expected to go public at a price to sales of around 40, 35, things are something around there. So honestly, you can consider a 20 bearish. Even with that, we get a market cap of $7.52 billion, or a price target of $54.16. Keep in mind, this is a stock that is currently trading right around $18 per share. Again, that's a lot of upside, considering that this is my bearish case. So let's quickly go into my bullish case. Let's consider 15% compounded growth every year. That gives us a revenue of right around $500 million. We pop a price to sales of 20, market cap right around $10 billion, and a price target of $70 per share. That's literally 4 to 5x in price in just the next year here, given where they are with revenue and given where I think they'll be with revenue by year's end. And honestly, if you consider a 20 price to sales bearish, which is honestly, it could be considered low given how quickly this company is growing. I mean, companies like Fastly or Cloudflare are trading at price to sales of 30, 35, 40. And their company's growing maybe 35, 40% every year. It's a company growing 100x every year. It's that big difference. So if you say maybe they should trade at a 25, obviously that increases the multiple and increases the price target. Or a 30, that gives us a price target of 100. I really doubt that's going to happen, but you got to be open to that possibility. I think a 20 is very fair, and that's kind of what I'm going to go with. So given that, I think Voyager could be trading anywhere from $50 to $70 per share by the end of 2021. I think that's very realistic given where they are today, given their numbers, and I really hope you guys agree with these numbers. If you don't, I'm going to link this document in the description. You can open it, you can make a copy of it for yourself, and you can kind of play around with these numbers with the compounded monthly growth rate, with the maybe shares outstanding or the price to sales ratio. There's a lot of different factors that you can take in here and really play around with them to come up with your own price target. I think this is one of the most important steps when buying a stock or watching a stock. Make up your own price targets, as it is vital in, establishing that confidence in holding a company. I mean, Voyager is now a company that makes right around 33% of my portfolio. It wasn't 33% when I bought in. It might have been 10, 12%, but given how much it has grown, it's now grown to such a significant part of my portfolio, and I'm still confident holding it because of how undervalued I think it is compared to their fair valuation just 1 year out. I mean, this is just 1 year out. If we look 5 years out, this could be a stock trading well above $200 per share. Again, it is a cryptocurrency play. If crypto crashes and stays down low at significantly low levels over the next few years, this company will be hurt. But I really think if the cryptocurrency market just stays stagnant or continues growing, this is a company that will do so incredibly well over the next few years here. I really love it as a long-term hold. If you don't own it, I really recommend you research it, really take a look at the company and analyze the risk-reward opportunity. If I didn't have a position in Voyager, I honestly think I might buy it, which is just crazy despite how much of a run it's been on. It's an incredible company. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you sticking until the end of the video. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure to hit that like button. If you are new, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.